Hey, how's it going? It's the game dude back at it again. Like I said, I was gonna make another part about my books and everything, see if it'd be interesting. So now I'm gonna start right here because some of my books are right here. First, I have these dolls to show you, which you can see is Alfred Newman from Man Magazine. One of these Funko Pops I own, Marty McFly. I own a George W. Bush doll, bobblehead. Found it at Goodwill for like a dollar or something, pretty cheap. A vintage Weird Yankovic doll. It has the other, I have the other pieces too, but it's in my closet. And of course, I have some Simpsons collectible cards that I am making with a Comer sticker. Apparently, this is a vintage, but every time I try selling it, I don't get that much. So, well, want to keep it as we said. We have another Funko Pop of Crash from the sea level for I think in part two. I think it's always in part two. And yeah, that's it. I have all these books. I have myself an actual diary from the weekend. I bought this one out from Scholastic back when I was in elementary school, which was like, woof. Way back in the early 20s when 2010s when Diary BQ was still popping off and everything. I think when it had its third movie was already out. And of course, I have all the three books. Still waiting for Dog Days. I'm pretty much gonna end the books after Hard Luck because a lot of people because that's when a lot of fans say that like that's when it stopped being relatable and everything like that. Nowadays, it just does stuff that maybe other kids would do, but not exactly middle class. Here's the movie there from the production of all three movies. I don't have the long haul because that movie was bad enough it's on its own. I have of course the do-it-yourself book, which is everybody kid had back then. Had a lot of mad books I can show you here, and all kinds. I'm collecting almost all of them. Some of them are pretty pricey to get, but trying to find a way to get all of them when I can. I'm not that really desperate to get all of them. Have one Frost Nixon. This came out during the time when that Ron Howard movie was coming out, and this is like definitive way to know what about happened behind the scenes of that movie. Of course, what happened in real life because I tried looking for a hardcover, but this thing never had a hardcover, so this is pretty much the way to go. Made back in 2007, so by that time the movie was going to be coming out in about a year. I like the movie, but like I said, the movie was pretty much based on the play, not in real life. So if you're really something for historical accuracy, read the book. Have a lot of Weird Al CDs. I mostly just carry that now, and most of it's you see is kind of dirty. I haven't cleaned them up really, but try my best. Most of them are clean, some of them are scratches, so I might have to get new versions of them. I don't have all of them. As you can see, I'm missing. The ones I'm missing are Polka Party, and there was another one. Forget. It's Polka Party, and I don't know. Let's see what else I'm missing. Probably down the line. I'll probably remember when I show you all these. Movie. I even got his compilation album, like the food album, which is pretty cool, and everything. I don't have all of his CDs. I don't intend on getting all of them. I pretty much get the ones I think are interesting or maybe are cheap. And some of them are very, very, pretty damaged because when you put it on top of each other, they crack very easily. Some of them are in good shape. And here's another album, the TV album, made by famous mad artist Jack Davis. Pretty good artist. Bad Hair Day, pretty good. Running with Scissors. Not the video game company, but the album. Poodle Hat. Straight Out of Linwood, Apocalypse, and Mandatory Apocalypse. And of course, Mandatory Fun right down there. His last album, because sadly he hasn't made any other albums. I think it's because his contract expired, so he decided not to make anything else. Which is sad because there's a lot of good songs out there that are worth parroting right now. And I do mean a lot. And we all know this. But, who knows? Saw his new video, pretty good. Makes me think that he should really make a new album, but that's all up to him. But he wants to go ahead with that. So yeah, pretty much Polka Party is the only one I'm still missing actually. So I'm actually not even missing all of them. So I'm missing Reality. I'm missing Polka Party. So in reality, it's not. So yeah, only missing one CD. Probably have to find it online. I can't seem to find it in any bookstore near me. So you know. Man, I forgot the order I had it this in. There you go. Of course, this is the limited edition. This is a 2.3.0 edition. That's what it's called. The reason why it's so limited is because it has a third disc, a bonus disc, which had all these stuff. Pretty much, not much. I meant to get like the deluxe edition of Apocalypse because that's what the one that has the DVD with the music videos. But I never found one, so I got the CD instead, which is fine. I don't know what it is. And let's go down here. Probably not going to be going into as much as the DVDs and movies because there's a lot of here, and of course most of these, mostly just Mad magazines. I almost have all of them. I'm still missing a majority from the 50s and the 60s mostly. I even have some of the special ones they have, like the color stuff, all that stuff. Some of them are in packages, some of them aren't. And like this one, my favorite, Star Wars, pretty good. And as you can see, most of them are not in packaging, which I probably will be buying. I probably have to go to a Office Depot or something, that's what it's called, to put them into one. Or go one of those comic books and buy those things in packs, because I heard in comic book stores they have them in packs, so I might invest in those. All of the magazines are, as you see right here, the other ones I'm subscribed to. I've been subscribed to for years, since 2014. So if in case you see ones that are not in white, they're pretty much the ones I'm subscribed to and everything. Of course, I got some of the Barnes and Nobles editions. I didn't collect all of them, so not all of them are in order, which is fine. I have the famous Harry Potter one, which has the exclusive Deathly Hallows Part 2. So in case all you people wonder where Part 2 went, you have to buy this. And it's not that hard to find online. I found this on eBay for cheap. This one was from the Loot Crate. I didn't get the Loot Crate because I'm pretty sure people have already used the Loot Crate for something. And with Loot Crates, sometimes they have collections of something that aren't on my size, like with shirts and something like that. So I just got this. It is pretty good. It's like a miniature version of magazines, really. So it has its own exclusive stuff, like the movies and all that stuff. This is my latest one. I'm still waiting for one in October, I think, which is next month, I think. Of course, down here I have a lot of the books and everything. So let's get down to the ones that aren't mad. So let's see. I have some Beavis and Butthead Encyclopedia. One of the first books they ever made, but I have the Reading Sucks here, which actually is the rest of this book, along with 4 other books they made, which includes, as you can see, Encyclopedia, Hollywood, Butt Files, and Chicken Soup. But I still plan to get the book separately because I would like to see have all of them having this. As you can see, this was made during the time of 2011 when it was being made. Pretty good compilation, has good humor. That was made by Mike Judge and everything, so he had some say on the book. So it's pretty good. Rest I have is I have a comic book edition of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This thing was like a rare to find. Like this thing, if you look it up now, you notice that there's not that much things online to look for, and the reason why for that is because there were not that much copies sold. Well, there were copies sold, but at the time, this was made back in not long ago, like back in. See, I can't remember. Hold on. No, it doesn't say it, but it was made sometime around the 2010s, made by the IDW comic book section, the one company that's only known for those comics from children's comics now. But they made a few adult comics. One of them was being by Troy Little from this book. I like it because it is its own thing. Even he said, even the Troy Little guy said in the interview, saying he tried his best to do his own thing in the comic, doing its own thing visually, and all that stuff, and also trying not to have ties to the movie, which I also showed you in my other videos. I like all of them. I like the books. Even have the original book on me. I have all of its stuff. As you can see, it's pretty much inventive of its own thing, as you can tell. It's not your average comic book with panels and everything. It is in some parts, but once you see them on the trips and everything, it starts morphing. It becomes its own thing, which is pretty good. But be warned, if you try finding a copy, you probably have to shell out $50 mostly for this because, like I said, it's not much. And as you can see, it's not really in a good condition from this angle right here. You can see, yeah, it's pretty bad. But aside from that, it's pretty good for what it is. The rest I have is just, I'm not really much of a comic book reader, but the one I do have is, of course, the Just Imagine Amoebius, the one Stan Lee made for the DC when he made some comic books for DC. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Pretty much his versions of what his heroes are like. And what do I think of it? Well, it's pretty good for what it is. Pretty interesting. I always wonder why DC didn't try making movies out of this universe. Who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. But it's just the Amoebius, meaning it's just the first comic. It just has this Amoebius only have the first two comics of each superhero. Just the introductions, because I'm pretty sure they had a long line of comic books. But like I said, I don't plan on reading them that much because, like I said, I'm not much of a comic book reader. But I got this because Stan Lee was a thing, and I'm pretty interested in him, and I love watching and reading some of the stuff he read from his side of making his own stories, pretty much from his versions of his own superheroes, especially from the other side, DC and all of that. But speaking of which, another one of them, which is the autobiography, one of his autobiographies, which is, of course, amazing, fantastic, incredible. My first one I ever bought at Barnes & Noble's. Came with a poster, which, of course, I'll show you right now, actually. Hung it up on my wall. Pretty good. I still keep it on me. It still looks pretty cool. But, man, it makes me feel sad for Stan Lee, especially for when the news came out, what they do to his body, his smoke with his blood and everything. And I didn't know about his daughter being much of a, well, in plain terms, a nutcase, but still, I feel bad for him. But it also makes me think retrospective why her daughter's not even in the comics for like only 2 panels. One was when she was a baby, one when she was a little daughter, and only one. So technically it's 3, but she doesn't get any speaker roles whatsoever in the third one because she's just there, which I could probably see right here if I can, but probably not. But it's a pretty good comic in itself. It's not really about that. He doesn't really talk about his personal life, which I still think is weird because he did, especially when the time was Joan and everything. It was a pretty good love story. But it's just like it's a sad case. Like, it really makes me think that could have handled his legacy better, but they didn't. He ended up getting shilled out and everything. It makes you feel bad for him in reality. So I have to put all this back. But like I said, it's a really pretty good memoir in and of itself. I ended up liking it. Amoebius is good, especially if I wanted to see what happens if he wrote the characters. Like I said, to me, it's pretty good. I didn't read the whole comics because like I said, not much of a reader, but it got me interested at least. It made me think that maybe they should make movies from that side. But then again, they probably couldn't because of legal issues. But I don't think they have a problem because Stan Lee agreed to make this on the side of DC, so I don't think Marvel would try to claim this. Maybe his state would have a problem with it, but I wouldn't say anything about DC. Hold on. But yeah, there's all the stuff. This big magazine poster. This one was expensive to find. I managed to get it at a price for $30, the same as the Fear and Loathing one, but still, they priced this book at $150 to $100 because because what the book doesn't tell you, you can actually tear apart the thing pages and put it on a poster. But I don't plan to do that because what's the point of doing that? As you can see, I have a lot of stuff. Some of them are old, and I pretty much have to replace them because the pages either got old or scratched from sadly years of neglect, my neglect. Yeah, I'm a collector, but I didn't think about taking care of them that much, and that's my mistake. My favorite one out of all the books is this one, the Star Wars one. As you can see, I bought it from a bookstore. I had to take the tag off, but this is what actually got me into Star Wars in the first place, especially all the way up to 2007. Made during the 30th anniversary, back when they made it and everything. I think this was like released in, let's just say right here. Probably not here. Check. Hold on. Yeah, like around 2007. Back when Lucas still owned it and everything, the good years and everything. Back when everybody was making fun of the prequels, the acting, the story, good times pretty much. Now it's, all the other stuff, which I refuse to go into because I choose not to follow that kind of stuff. Good for me, good for my mental health, really. But I have other stuff here too. All of them are pretty good. But Star Wars one is my favorite. I have a lot of these ones, the children parodies, like Don't Let the Penguin Drive the Bus, Superman, and of course, Goodnight Batcave. My favorite one is the Superman one, which is based on Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. I didn't read the original book. I did see the Disney movie, though. Pretty good for a Disney movie, but then again, I don't know. It had to be pretty much its own thing. Of course, I have a lot of other mini books and even these things called bookazines, which is the thing they had in selling grocery stores at the time. And I collect almost all of them. Still missing a few, which probably have to find online. But I have all of them. But right now, I haven't bought any new ones recently because it's just they're pretty much reusing old stuff now. It's just putting new covers on them. So it's like, why bother? And of course, these ones are special. These ones are, of course, the famous board games and the card game. As you can see, the board game is a little bit neglected because it has this tape on it. When I tried taking it off, it ended up taking off the cover. So I left the thing where it is, but I got it for a good price. Got the card game, plus all these cards and everything. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't want to open it because it's going to be scattered. This one's made from Parker Brothers, who made Monopoly, so it'll be kind of funny that they made it. And as you can see, pretty old. I don't know if this is the original one, because even it says not new or improved, and I heard the original ones didn't say that, so maybe they changed it. But this is the original authentic one. Well, I say authentic, but it is authentic. Pretty good. Got it at a good price online. And of course, I have more books down here, more mad ones from the artists, writers. I'm still collecting more. I'm missing Don Martin and Sergio Aragonés. Those are hard to find because only libraries have them now, and knowing them, they mess it up with the paper they put in and also those punch slots they put in, which is kind of annoying. So I'm trying to buy it without the whole library aesthetic and with everything. But as you can see, the rest I have are books from Rated R. As you can see, I'm a Stephen King fan. Pretty good one. I have his good ones. Shining, my favorite. It's not the original print, but I like the cover. It looks good. Everything. It's a reprint, but I'm trying to find the original one soon. But I got it as a birthday present. I like it. This is, of course, one of the original ones, The Dead Zone. Pretty good book. I like the David Cronenberg movie, as you saw in my last video. I showed you the movie. I like the movie too. So yeah, if you wanted to read the book, you should read the book and everything. Pretty good. Pretty much follows faithfully to the book, actually. Pretty much, I find pretty amazing. Here we have Rise of the Dragon, Stephen King's attempt at fantasy. And this one got him in very much controversy back in the 80s because here we have this horror writer making a fantasy book. Something that came out of a Tolkien or something like that. But then, pretty good drawings and everything. But now it's looked back very good. I really hope that somebody makes a good fantasy movie out of this. Maybe animated would be good. Here we have 11/22/63. Good book. I recommend the book more than the miniseries. Not that I'm saying I don't like the miniseries, but The book has some good stuff and it has its own thing and own writing and everything. It made it stand out on its own, but it's pretty good. It still has a good love story from Jake and Sadie, so that's something that the miniseries got right. Here we have the Shining sequel, Doctor Sleep. And before you all ask, the thing you saw in the movie wasn't the same as the book. And of course, if you saw the movie, saw my other video, my past video, I showed it too, and like I said, it's very different from the book. And that's because Mike Flanagan, the director, wanted to connect more with Stanley Kubrick's Shining, the one Stephen King hated the most. But I recommend the novel for a good read because this connects more to the novel one and everything, and it has its own pretty good revelations that pretty good. Here we have Frankenstein from Mary Shelley. Been a little reading it. The original book, pretty good. I got this from Barnes & Noble. You should pretty much get this one because it has a good cover and everything. It's not exactly paperback, but it's not like where you can bend and everything and crease, so it's good. I think you'll like this. Pretty good book. Has good formatting unlike the other books. I recommend this. I also showed you my Dracula one, which I had showed in the video. I think I showed you that one, but I have that one. And of course, speaking, I have Tolkien. I'm a pretty big Lord of the Rings fan. I love the movies, the extended cuts, the Hobbit trilogy. Like I said, I had my quarrel with that, and I already told you in my last video what I felt about that. So I don't know. But I'm still collecting more of his tales and everything. So right now I only have the Silmarillion. The second edition one was edited by his grandson, Christopher, who pretty much had to edit the book down. By edit the book, I mean make sure to put all the chapters and everything in order to make sure it's cohesive at least. I'm in the middle of reading it. It's pretty good for a prequel to show what happened before The Hobbit and how Middle-earth was made. Pretty good. Speaking of which, I also have The Hobbit. It's not the original one, because you're thinking, because this is the 75th anniversary edition from 2012. Got this also at Barnes & Noble for $27. Not a bad price for it, I'll tell you that. Pretty good book. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's hard to believe this was a children's book because it has such good writing and everything that even you don't have to read as a kid to understand and everything. It's pretty amazing. I think Tolkien thought so too, because that's why there's a sequel book I have right here. Lord of the Rings. As you can see, this is the 50th anniversary collection. This was released back in 2002 when the Two Towers movie was just coming out. So after 50 years, they decided to release the book. This one I recommend you get more because unlike the other books, this one is actually made the way Tolkien wanted, all in one book. Because despite what you think, he actually wanted to release it in one book, but at the same time, his publisher said to cut it down because they didn't think readers would want to read something this big. But 50 years later, with these nice gold edging lines, pretty good, reflective and everything, almost resembles that of a Bible. 3 rings, there's Sauron, the Eye of Sauron, and all that stuff, all pretty good. I'm right now in the middle of the Two Towers, the longest book in the entry, but I recommend this to you because, like I said, it's all 3 books mashed into one big book, how Tolkien originally wanted. Pretty good book. I had to get this at the half price for like $50. Not a bad offer. 50th anniversary at $50, not that bad. But in case you just want to do paperbacks and get it all on all 3 of them all separately, then that's your choice. But if you want to get something with a good hardcover book and all in one packaging, this is the way to go. Sorry about that. To put the book back. Okay, pretty good. Next I have is The Godfather, the novel. As I said in the last one, I had the book. It's pretty good. From Barnes & Nobles. I actually got it online from Barnes & Nobles from a gift for me, but I specifically said a hardcover because, as you can see, it looks like the way it was printed back in the 70s, back when both sides had The Godfather and novel. Mario Puzo. I'm thinking about going into his other books, Omerta and The Last Dawn, which I heard are pretty good. But till then, I read this book. I'm reading it again, as you can see, and it's pretty good. Not unlike the movie and everything. I kind of like this book more because it's more raw than the movie, than which I always thought would trickle down and to make it more Hollywood acceptable in my opinion. But I'm not saying the movie was bad, but I'm just saying that if you really read the book compared to the movie, it's a whole different thing. And of course, I also showed you in my last video. Thank You for Smoking. I just finished it 2 days ago. Pretty good book. I still believe you should really read the book and then watch the movie because they're pretty much different things, especially with the ending, which I won't spoil, but ends differently. Of course, I have Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I can see it's a hardcover, but the reason why you should get this version is because this version has the original. As you can see, it's carefully constructed along with the original illustrations by John Leech himself. So this is the version you should get because I think you have to look up 1834 restoration or something. I forgot what the title is, but as you can see, it has the John Leech illustrations back when he drew it. Nowadays, if you look at it in stores, you realize it's not the same, and you realize that some of them had different artists and everything. That's because they all contributed in their own and everything. So pretty much get this one, and this was made back in. Well, this was I forgot what it's called, but But if you don't know it, just put in Christmas Carol with John Leech illustrations, and it'll show you this one. And hopefully it looks like this. So in case you want to know, it looks like this and everything. It's pretty thin. Has only the John Leech illustrations, so it's a pretty good read. I got this one for $5, which is cheap, so pretty good movie. And the Robert Zemeckis movie, the Disney one, did it justice, in my opinion. I know a lot of people have loved the other ones, but the Robert Zemeckis movie did it justice by doing it the most. And aside from that whole running scene from the Ghost of Christmas Future was a little bit more tedious. Aside from that, very constructive to the novel. Here's my closet. I have a lot of stuff in here, and in this box is a VCR, an actual VCR. And the reason why I don't have any VCR tapes, I've sold them all pretty much. And I think some of my modern TVs don't have the same cables as the VHS ones have, so I'm gonna have to find an old TV for that. Up here and more of my other books, I have a lot of presidential biographies of my presidents. The ones I'm more interested in the most: Lincoln, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon. Yes, Nixon, and also, of course, Bush. And of course, I have one from this one. Of course, this was based on the Lincoln movie from Spielberg. Pretty good book. I recommend you read the book because they took some stuff from it, but you don't have to read the book to know the movie because they only took from the last 4 months of his life. And this book talks about everything from his life. Have the Andy Kaufman biography. This one you should really get aside from the others. I know there's a lot of ones out there, but this one is the best way because not because it's a graphic novel, it's because to me it's the best one. It really made me feel good for Andy Kaufman. It really made me look back on that Man on the Moon movie, which I actually originally had, but the reason why you didn't see me have it because once I realized what kind of person Andy Kaufman really was in real life, the movie kind of cheapens the whole thing, in my experience. Have Rodney Dangerfield's autobiography. I never really much read his stuff, but when I saw the book and saw the title of it, I was like, man, I have to read this. And I'm glad I did. Pretty good read. I'm pretty sure you'll like it. This was released after his death. I think his wife and everything kind of managed to edit it and to get it released. But yeah, it's pretty good read. His life is like an amazing life and everything. And of course, I have Bruce Campbell's books, Hail to the Chin, but I also have his first one, If Chins Could Kill, his first one, and also Hail to the Chin, his sequel book. So in case you want to know, he made 2 of them back to back. Well, not back to back. He made this one back in 2000s. This one he made recently, not long after the Ash vs. Evil Dead show was being made. So I recommend both. He hasn't made any new ones as far as I know, but these are pretty good reads. This one was based off of what happened during the fiasco with Martin Scorsese when he made that Last Temptation of Christ movie, which I showed you back in my first video, in my DVD collection. Not my first video, but my part 1 and everything. This one was a good book. You should really read it. It tells about what happened during the whole thing that happened. And whether or not you agree and how your beliefs are, you should really. This one tells you the whole story about what happened during when he was making it, all the way up when it was released, and why it's still controversial even to this day, even years later. I mean, it was so controversial that Blockbuster, all the way up until their own life and everything, they refused this. They refused to have it for rent, available for rent or even own, which was like amazing for Blockbuster. But but what can you do? Oh, sorry. And of course, this one I meant to show you, which was about the Warren Commission report, what happened, the assassination of Kennedy back in '63, shows what really happened. And like I said, I don't care about what your conspiracy beliefs are, but I don't care because they're not real. Sorry to tell you that, but they're not. But this is what really happened back in '63. Oh, sorry for the lights, it's just very cloudy today. Pretty much turn on the flashlight for you. There you go, that's better. Here we have one, of course, here's the book I told you about, Fear and Loathing. It's the 50th anniversary, it's new. Has other stories too, but it has the Ralph Steedman illustrations. Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, it's just pretty good. I like the book. Like I said, I have the book, the movie, and of course the graphic novel. Oh, failed again. Sorry about that. Leave it like this. Here we have another book based on, of course, another Martin Scorsese movie, The Irishman. Of course, it's originally called I Heard You Paint Houses, based on Frank Sheeran. Pretty good novel. Pretty good true crime book out of all the true crime books I read. I did have a Goodfellas one, but I got bored of it. And in reality, I really don't really like Henry Hill, so that's my opinion, really. But I'm reading this one right now. It's pretty more interesting, very more interesting. All that stuff. This is not the original one. And I heard it's a hardcover. I meant to get that, but this is pretty good. It has the original cover and everything, art. So it's pretty good. Here we have Jack, the famous, as of now, the only official story from Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto right now. He hasn't made another one, really. But it's a pretty good book and everything. I recommend you get it. This book was released around 2010. This is really when Red Dead Redemption came out, and I recommend it's a good thing the book stopped there because after GTA 5, everything went downhill for Rockstar. So, in a way, it's a good thing the book ended on a high note. I just wish the same that happened to Rockstar Games. Here we have a Sickle of Monkeys. It's the unauthorized Ren and Stimpy story. Even though it's an unauthorized book, I still recommend you get this because this is actually, even though it's unauthorized, this is actually the most authorized book of Ren and Stimpy, believe it or not. Yeah, before the documentary Happy Happy Joy Joy came out, this was a story where everybody knew what went on during Ren and Stimpy's time in Nickelodeon, during the adult party cartoon era, and of course what John K was like and everything, and how it was made. The reason why I know it's not authorized, despite being unauthorized, because everyone who was involved in the Ren and Stimpy story all gave their hands and all the stories in this book to the author to give, and of course Billy West did the foreword. He liked it, and one person who really didn't like it was John K. Figures, of course. But I recommend getting this one because this is actually the updated version. Even though it doesn't say, this is actually the revised and updated version. So if you ever look it up online, as you see, the revised edition. But the difference is if you see a paperback version, don't get that one because that one's the original version. And even the author of the book, Thad Kormosky or something like that. I think I got that wrong. But Thad here, he's made a lot of errors, like spelling errors, all that stuff, and he may have got some information wrong. So I recommend this one because of the revised editions. It's a hardcover. It's pretty good. So I recommend you get this one instead. Remember, the cover looks like this, and if it looks like this is the revised one. If you just see one with a log on the kitty litter, that's the original one. Don't get it. And the reason why is because it's paperback. Yeah, it's it's his own thing. It's his own thing. But this was a go-to book. But in case you don't want to see a more authorized version of it, I recommend you go see the documentary. Although be warned, the documentary does have John K in it, and he tries putting his own spin on the story in it and everything, his own way. So, like I said, if you don't want that, get this book. It's pretty good. Of course, we have other stuff. Let's let's see here. I have Walt Disney, the famous Walt Disney biography, which is hard to find nowadays. And I don't mean hard to find like, it's hard to find. I mean like it's hard to find a good, clean hardcover biography because most of it is just mostly paperbacks, and the ones that are hard copies are like also like from libraries. So I managed to find one online that was, as you can see, vintage, no markings, nothing, no markings from libraries, people, nothing like that. Even when this book was made back in 2004, it still holds up as one of the great biographies from Disney himself, from Neil Gabber and everything. And everything. And he actually helps disprove some of the myths that were made about Disney, which is that he was either racist and misogynist, which he actually exposed back in 2004, saying that none of it was true, except for the misogyny thing, based on, especially when that letter leaked from that woman artist who got rejected, and that was actually real. But from the racist part, yeah, sure, there was a lot of racist from the Looney Tunes cartoons, the Tom and Jerry cartoons. Disney was no more, but guess what? Every other cartoons was also implicit too, so that's not to say that they were racist too. It's just that that's how it was back in the 30s for everybody. But hey, the best part is to deal with it and know knowledge that it happened, make sure it doesn't happen again. That's the best thing that can happen, and everything. Yeah, it could be the best. That's why I'm waiting for like a Tom and Jerry collection right now, which shows all the uncensored parts, especially from the from that Black Maid character, I forgot her name, and also from the time they were in blackface and all that stuff. And I'm not saying it because I'm secretly racist or anything. No, it's because, like I said, Warner Bros. Was willing to do it with the Looney Tunes collection, with the Golden Collection, and to show all that uncensored, and even them saying, even having Whoopi Goldberg come out saying, which proves, like I said, what I said was that it happened in history. The best thing for them to do is just acknowledge that it happened, make sure it doesn't happen again. And the worst thing, crime for them to do, Disney, MGM, and Warner Bros. Perspective, the worst thing for them to do is to censor it, because them censoring it is them saying that, oh, it didn't happen, even though it did happen. And Walt Disney and the Disney company is complicit of this because they try censoring all those cartoons to hell. They can only find it really online. You can really only find it online. They don't even bother making a DVD or collection of all that stuff, at least from them anyway. That's why I kind of respect Warner Bros. For making the whole Looney Tunes Golden Collection. I just hoping they do the same thing for Tom and Jerry soon. But aside from that, this book, pretty good read. Even for something back in 2004, pretty good. And I recommend you get this, especially if you want to know about Disney the man, not about Disney the company, which are two different, separate things, its own separate lives. I have one from Mo Howard and the Three Stooges, from Mo Howard himself. Pretty good book. You would think when they made that Three Stooges biography from Mel Gibson, you would think he would have read this book and take a lot from that, but he didn't. And he made up a lot of stuff, which is like, wow, amazing. And he called himself a fan. Here we have some Star Trek ones. One, of course, is a William Shatner biography made in 2008. I wish he made a new one because it's been like nearly 20 years. And he's done some stuff, but not a lot. Pretty good read. Here we have ones called Star Trek Memories. These are the go-to memories, especially if you want to know more about behind the scenes from the movies and the TV show. As you can see, they're both written by Shatner himself, and of course has his cover on it. Because what else would it be? But aside from that, he doesn't really make an unbiased opinion about himself. He actually interviews all the cast members, even the ones that say they hate him, like George Takei, James Doohan, the ones who hated him at the time. And even he made a chapter in his book saying all about the crew members who thought about him as an actor, which even, like I said, shocked him. And when I read about it, and especially in this book, it made me think that, despite being him parodying, saying he had a big ego in it, I don't think he really did. Even the autobiography I showed you, I mean, he said if he did have an ego, he is sorry for that. But for the life of him, he said he can never remember all the stuff that even his crew members said he did, and he doesn't remember even doing it. Like when George Takei blocked from doing scenes or becoming a captain in Park 6, even though he can't remember that happening, or James Doohan not liking him, he doesn't understand it either. Never understood it. Same thing he gave with for Leonard Nimoy in his biography, which is actually what he made. His new biography, not the Iron Spock ones, but the new one he made, which I had. And it's only that because, got interested in it. But he goes into detail with these books, behind the scenes. He does interviews with Roddenberry's wife, all crew members, the writers, anybody was made from the movies, and of course everything like that. And it's like, cool and everything. Pretty good memories. I think you should really read these books because they really go into detail. He really does go into detail about what happened behind the scenes from the movies and the TV shows and everything. So I really recommend you should really read this, especially if you're a Trekkie fan or a Trekker fan. Sorry about that. If you're either of those fans, those books are an essential. Here we have Weird Al, the book, his biography made by Nathan Rapper, also with him in it. Pretty good book and everything. It's a biography book, a pretty fun one and everything, all about his behind the scenes tribute and everything, about what he did in his career. I know there's his movie and everything, which I meant to get. I don't have it right now on DVD because I thought it was be on Blu-ray, but it's not. So I'll probably get the DVD soon. But if you want to know the real story about what happened, get this book. It goes into detail what happened and everything. But it's like, he should really make another one because a lot of things happened between this book and today. Because this book was made back in 2011, back when Apocalypse was just coming out. So he didn't even wait to make this book until Mandatory Fun. Oh, he just made this 2012. But this is a pretty good book. Goes what happened between his beginning years all the way up until Apocalypse. Recommend you getting. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it, guys. And I have some other books right here, actually, along with this other clutter stuff. Of course, which is the Abraham Lincoln book. I have this new book, Man and Fool, which I meant to read, but I will read soon. But here I have some more Star Trek memorabilia up here. I can show you more in my room, actually. So here's Star Trek memorabilia with these plushies and cute ones. I have these Crash Bandicoot I got from GameStop. They were pretty much on sale because they were pretty much getting rid of some of the stuff. So I got this for $5 each. So pretty much good steal. Here we have some Star Wars posters. I don't have Return of the Jedi. It was in one of those mini cereal brands when they were giving away the posters in the cereal boxes. And I don't know where the other one is, but I'll probably find it online. Here's Space Jam by Abe Lincoln. Pretty big fan. Not of Space Jam, but Abe Lincoln more. And here we have more of other stuff. Mad Magazine, Star Wars, and of course Mad Parodies. Pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's been pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And, well, yeah, that's it. Game on.